right, should we get started?
Yeah,
It's 11:30. Okay, let's make sure the recording's going, Daryl. Hi, everyone, and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us to talk about our webinar today, Expanding Your B2B Automation Beyond EDI Using RPA. Today on the call with me, I have, Vijay, go to the next slide. Today on the call with me, I have Vijay Thomas, who's the CEO of Tangentia, myself, Ashley Nathan, who's the marketing manager, and Sal Alfieri, who recently joined Tangentia as our technology strategist and account manager. So today's webinar is being recorded, and we will be sending out the recording after the webinar. And if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat bot, and we will answer those questions at the end of the webinar. So on the agenda today, we have why you should automate the procure-to-pay process and accounts payable, how to automate the order-to-cash process and accounts receivable, and we're going to talk about the future of B2B automation and how RPA can complement EDI. We'll go over some of our use cases for customers that are using RPA today in the TIA platform, and then at the very end, we'll do a demo of our EDI combining RPA solutions. So for those that don't know who Tangentia is, we have 17 years of experience, and we have across the globe. Our 2 offices are located in Canada and in India. We work with some of the leading RPA partners, including Automation Anywhere, IBM, UiPath, and Blue Prism. We have our own proprietary platforms, including Tangentia Gateway, which is our EDI platform. And just recently, we've launched our TIA platform, which helps to accelerate different industries with our automation and our bots. We also help our customers build their own custom platforms using an agile delivery model. And we've worked with 1,000+ customers across the globe. And just recently, we were named IBM and Tech Data Partner of the Year. And we were also recognized by Automation Anywhere as the Business Process Automation Partner of the Year. Go to the next slide. We have 3 core practices, automation and RPA, which combines artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, and also our TIA platform that we'll be highlighting today as well. Our B2B practice is our traditional business, which covers EDI and e-commerce. We've helped customers across the globe with their supply chain management. And then we also have our digital practice of the business, where we focus on agile app development. We do consulting on different platforms, including Salesforce and IBM. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Vijay Thomas, our CEO, who's going to discuss our EDI platform.
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you everybody for making time to join us today. It's a Tuesday afternoon. We're probably between you and lunch, but we'll try our best to make it interesting and make you feel like you've earned lunch. So on that, Tangentia EDI, as Ashley mentioned, is one of our legacy businesses, something that we started doing 17 years back. We have our own Tangentia Gateway solution. Now with Tangentia Gateway, what we do is we've taken EDI, the traditional EDI applications, put it on the cloud, and we have a SaaS EDI pay-as-you-go solution. So something that when you say SaaS and pay-as-you-go might seem like cheap and cheery, but we've got customers ranging from mom and pop, small customers to large Fortune 500 customers. We have 12 Fortune 500 customers, including some very large names like Reliance Retail, which is the largest retailer in India. So and today the Tangentia Gateway platform has the Tangentia Gateway EDI, which is we now call Tangentia Gateway Connect, but also has WMS, has order management, has scan and pack, different other applications built in, and also has e-invoicing solutions that are now mandatory in different parts of the world. So it is something to do with B2B, and anything that lets you trade, transact, do business with other entities, that's where you think of Tangentia Gateway. So our features include EDI connectivity with 2,000+ trading partners globally. So if you trade with everybody in North America, Walmart, Amazon, Loblaws, Sobeys, in the US, Target, any of these retailers in the US, Asda, Carrefour in France, we connect with all of them. Suppose multiple standards, ANSI X12, EDIFACT, Rosetta Net, XML, all of that in there. We integrate into your ERP systems. So all of this already exists, something that we've already done about. So some of our customers who does business with us, those names out there, something that you will already, a lot of them are household names. If you live in Canada, if you live in Ontario, you probably know of the LCBO. So we're the company that built the whole supply chain for the LCBO for beer and wine in grocery stores. So that's something that we really pride ourselves on being able to do. And that was in 2015. We continue to do that till today. A lot of the names there are household names. You should remember, you should probably recognize them. Chapman's Ice Cream, Whirlpool, SodaStream, some of those names there. So coming to automating procure to pay beyond EDI. So a lot of you probably already know of EDI, something that's been around for the last 30, almost 40 years. If you're in automotive, is where it first started off. Retail, distribution, supply chain, everything has EDI. So the current procure to pay system, if you're looking at it from a buyer perspective, so if you're a buying organization, you have an EDI system, you use purchase order invoices, and you have your supplier organization. So we're going to talk from the buying organization perspective. Let's say you've got all your large vendors, and we follow Pareto. So around 20% of your large vendors make up probably 80% of your volumes, right? So, and then those are easier to do with EDI. So if we do that, what we've seen is 20% of your vendors will do EDI. So you get around 60 to 80% of your transactions automated. So they come in straight through the EDI platform right into your ERP system. However, there's 80% of the vendors, there are small, medium-sized vendors that might not want to do EDI, that there are 20% of transactions. That's the long tail that you probably want to bring on board as well. And until now, it was difficult. These guys like to do fax, like to do email, like to call you. How do you work with them? So come in RPA. So now your same process that you use for procure to pay, you add in an RPA platform. Now what the RPA platform does, it can do PDF, it can do paper, it can do email, it can do fax. So the same way as you're working with them, but the RPA system now checks your fax machine. It's a bot. It's not a physical bot, but it's a programmatic bot. It's a software bot that can sit in there and do a lot of the manual tasks, mundane, repetitive tasks that humans do. It's got intelligence, it's cognitive, it reads a fax, it can make sense of a fax document, so we can get to 100% of your vendors and 100% of your transactions using RPA in conjunction with EDI. Something that we've already done in many of our customers, something that we're continuing to do, and we think something that very soon is going to get ubiquitous. And at this point, I'd like to get my colleague Sal. Sal's spent a lot of time automating procure to pay systems at very large companies like Rogers Communication, where they have like more than 500 bots doing some of these processes, not only procure to pay, but many other processes. So Sal, I'd like to have your 2 cents, your word on your take on what we're putting out there. How do you see this happening? Is it already happening? And what's your take on the future?
Thanks, Vijay. So definitely RPA is the future. I actually just read an article in the New York Times about how RPA is really, really accelerating business and causing a lot of changes and causing a lot of waves. And one of the reasons why RPA is growing so rapidly is that unlike most other technologies or platforms that an organization would bring in. RPA doesn't require any deep integrations, and there are no far-reaching impacts. So it's actually the topmost layer of your technology stack, and as a result, it's really easy and quick to implement. Implementation can take as little as 2 weeks. And so as a result, we find more and more organizations trying it out, proving out a few concepts such as procure to pay or order to cash as sort of obvious use cases. And then once they realize the benefits, saying, okay, let's do more, let's do more. And so today, later on, I'll have a couple demos to show you just how easy it is and what that all looks like.
So thank you, Sal. I mean, that is fantastic. So we're going to, all of us are looking forward to seeing those demos and seeing stuff that you and the team have been doing. So absolutely, procure to pay, order to cash, I think low hanging fruit, something that we see right away the advantages. So some of the benefits of procure to pay. Average cost of manually processing individual invoice between $12 and $30. Some places as high as $1.40. So reduce invoice processing costs. So this is a huge thing for companies. They have order desks. They have accounts payable folks that are checking these things. When you send an invoice, there is things like three-way matching. Some of these things can require your ERP system to kind of be tweaked, and anything that if you have an ERP like SAP, we're talking millions of dollars to do that. So as Sal mentioned, it's not that RPA is the only way to peel the onion. There's different ways to do this, but in terms of bang for your buck, in terms of ability to do it quickly, I think there's no better solution than RPA. And we've had philosophical discussions with CIOs in terms of, is this the right way to do this? And I think until now, there were purists who think everything has to be done in the ERP system. And slowly they're beginning to see the value in being to do this in a lightweight system outside the ERP, and then keeping some of the really big process changes to be done in the ERP. So, and something like this did not exist before. You had scripting and things like that, but a enterprise level, automation solution did not exist. So that's something that RPA brings to the table, and definitely compliance is much easier. If you have SOX compliance, any of these things over manual, a bot is definitely preferable. People have said, have asked me, what if the bot goes rogue? And my answer to them is, the chances of a bot going rogue is much, much, much smaller than an employee going rogue. So you have the chances of an employee going rogue in doing things is far, far higher. So if you're looking at process, maturity, your auditors will love that there's a bot looking at it and not a human. So keep that in the back of your mind, although I know some people are still wary of bots, being able to get into your system and do things. But rest assured, you're in better hands than with a human being having the same access. So coming to order to cash, very similar to procure to pay, but in this particular case, we're going to look at this from the supplier organization perspective, where the supplier receives the purchase order and sends an invoice. So basically, you're processing a purchase order in this case, and you're fulfilling your customers. So automation with around 20% of your customers, your large customers. If you're a vendor to, let's say, Walmart or one of the large grocery chains, you're just from the grocery chains, they're the big customers. So around 60 to 80% of your transactions probably come from them, but they're only 20% of your customers, because you also sell to a lot of small and medium-sized customers, and the small and medium-sized customers still love their fax, their email ordering system, and do not despair. We can get those things as well, like we saw with the procure to pay, with order to cash. The same thing happens. We get an RPA solution. We can get PDF, paper, email, fax. So we can do 100% of your customers and doing 100% of your transactions. So very simple. The process remains the same. Anything that you had human beings doing in terms of checking for email, checking for the fax, PDF, all of that can be automated. So again, lot of small customers that are non-EDI can be onboarded. Order desk, buying teams can be eliminated, downsized. Again, we're not recommending that you lay off people, but your growth could come from here. You can add on new customers without adding on new people. You can also get people to work on real customer satisfaction, talk to customers, get more customer satisfaction driving events to take place, where you can have people actually touching customers. So again, faster payment, improved cash flows, improved efficiency in customer service, things that we kind of know we need to do, but we probably don't have the bandwidth, don't have the people to do it. But now with the advent of bots, with the advent of RPA, we can do this with RPA and bots as well. So the future of RPA, as Sal mentioned, it is real. It is right now. It is not something that is in the distant future. It's already happening. So with COVID, should you be putting this off? Should you be embracing this? What we've seen is with COVID, if anything, it has accelerated the adoption of RPA. So nearly 50% of businesses around the world will increase RPA adoption due to COVID-19. So people have said, is it the CEO? Is it the CIO? Or is it anybody else in the company that's pushing for COVID for RPA adoption? And the answer that overwhelmingly around the world is it's COVID-19 is the biggest driver for RPA. So those of you in the audience thinking about this, I think this is the right time. If you've not already embraced it, jump on the bandwagon. If you're somebody that's just touching, get your feet, trying to get your feet wet, this is the time to go all in, something that will help you as everything opens up. If your competitors have embraced RPA, they will be right after off the start line, way ahead of you. So something that you should consider. Sal, any thoughts on this in terms of COVID-19 and RPA?
Absolutely. Actually, in my experience, when COVID-19 first hit about a year ago, within 4 months, the organization I was with actually doubled their robotic capacity. And that was a direct result of the pandemic. And the reality is robots and digital workers don't get sick or don't have children to take care of. And so they're a lot more flexible and efficient at doing relatively low value work. And that's the idea. It's to shift the low value work so that way the organization can focus on the high value work, like dealing with customer issues and customer satisfaction. And that's exactly what I experienced during the onset of the pandemic.
Fantastic, Sal, and I think we're definitely seeing it at a lot of our customers as well. So why are businesses adopting RPA? Increased agility, diversity and resiliency, supply chain operation, extraordinary cost pressures. So they're addressing these cost pressures, automating back office operational tasks, and support a remote workforce. We've had, as we started off, there were some of our customers that we had just gone live with where bots were sending reports out. And as COVID hit and people couldn't go into the office, their customers got their reports on time thanks to RPA. Now as COVID continued, they got in more and more reports and more things were unaffected. Some of the other benefits: optical character recognition. A bot can read a document like a human, possibly even better than a human, because it doesn't tire. It doesn't need to take breaks, as Sal mentioned. So all of those things are there, and it can read the documents at the same, as humans in the morning, we probably read it very well. as you get to the end of the day, we're tired, right? I mean, the bot's doing the same efficiency, same effectiveness at midnight, at 2 a.m., at 3 a.m. as well. And fast ROI, cost savings, cognitive learning skills. Again, the bot can learn as humans can. So all of those good things is why you would consider a bot an RPA. So I'm going to get quick. So Tangentia, we're launched TIA. TIA is our intelligent, it is Tangentia Intelligent Automation. That's what TIA stands for. It's our bot platforms. What does it include? As you see out there on screen, the TIA chatbot, TIA Core AI, TIA Industry Accelerated, TIA Digital Worker. We'll see that right now. So I'm going to play a short video for all of you.
Hello, namaste, bonjour, guten tag. My name is Tia, your
Sorry, I was just going to do a full screen.
Your AI digital assistant. I am multilingual and can be trained to meet the needs of your business. Powered by IBM Watson and Automation Anywhere and brought to life by Tangentia, I can bring value to your team and unleash the power of automation to improve processes and increase efficiencies. As your digital assistant or digital employee, I can process paperwork 5 times faster, work 24/7 to automate tedious tasks, respond to customer questions at all hours of the day. Your investment for a digital employee is a fraction of the cost for one employee. The possibilities for your business are infinite. I can make it happen. All you have to do is aspire and aim for impact. Together with Tangentia, we can transform your business for a better tomorrow. Begin your journey into the world of artificial intelligence and robotic process automation with an experienced team with a proven track record of success. Together, let's aim for impact. It's me, Tia, signing off. Tia, designed today for tomorrow.
So thank you, Tia. Thank you, and all of you that are watching, you can go in and also watch this video. We have multiple other Tia videos on our website as well.
Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen right now. So I'm just going to show you guys a order to cash flow that's been fully automated. And the good thing about RPA is that we can take the process exactly as is and replicate it without having to do any sort of changes or integrations. And so a digital worker will be doing exactly what a human would be doing. And so just like a human would, they would receive an email for a purchase order, click into it, and then they can see the details of the purchase order. So there it goes. And so if we actually take a look at this purchase order, it's quite detailed. You can see it's got material code, some other code, description, quantity, units, rate, taxes, and it gets quite detailed. As well, further above, there's ship to addresses and bill to addresses. So it's a lot for a human to take in all at once. And we're watching this now in real time.
Sal, they cannot see it. Can you? I think maybe you would share that particular share all screen.
I will try again. Yeah, give me 1 second here. Yeah, I see the screen is dark. Okay, so I'm going to share my entire screen here. I'm going to go back to the media player, and hopefully you guys can see my screen now or see the video. Okay, so we're just going to trigger the bot manually here. I'll skip past all these steps here. And okay, so now this is where the bot comes into action. It has 4 POs that it needs to take a look at, and what it's going to do is it's actually going to read the PDF of the purchase order that was sent through email, and then swivel chair into the ERP. In this case, it's Microsoft Dynamics, and you can see already how quickly it's extracting data. In it must have been less than 20 seconds. It has now extracted data from 4 of those purchase orders that came in through PDF. 30 seconds for a human, probably the best they can do is maybe open the file, and that's about it. And they wouldn't be able to transpose it. So the bot is exponentially faster and more efficient than a human. And that's important to note, because when we talk about bots and the concept of a digital worker, usually the digital worker is so much more efficient. The ratio would be 5 to 1, 10 to 1, maybe even 20 to 1 in terms of the amount of digital workers you would need to take the place of actual human workers. And so on the bottom right-hand corner, you can see here the progress, and it's running through the lines of code. And you can see here it's ERP D365 it's creating a service order. And this is actually one module within the greater process that we built. And so what this shows is we can actually build modules and reuse them across a number of different processes. So that way, over time, as our process object library gets greater and greater, we can start piecing together processes without having to build them from scratch over and over and over again. Now you can see it's just entering into Microsoft Dynamics. And if you look closely, you can see a few little warnings and errors at the top of Microsoft Dynamics. And the robot is actually programmed to overcome those. So if there is some sort of warning, it will know what it needs to fill out. And now it's importing a file of all the extracted data. And soon we'll see our service order. And so the bot does that. And I think this video is about 10 minutes long. It's just flowing through the 4 orders. But in comparison, I don't even think a human would be able to get 1 order done in about 10 minutes, right? And so that's sort of the pace and the efficiency at which this operates. And we're at 50% of the last, just trying to get to the point where maybe we can see the final output. Bear with me as my screen loads here. Yeah, I think I got a little bit of a freeze, but you can see how quickly, oh, there it goes. So now the task is completed. So the total running time of this video is 10 minutes. It processed all 4 POs in 10 minutes. Okay, back to you, Vijay.
Okay, thank you. And sorry about that. I think I went to YouTube and it went to the next YouTube thing automatically. And I had so many browser windows. So I kind of did not realize that one of them was on there. So let me get back to the presentation. We looked at how TIA. So we looked at how TIA had all the different aspects of TIA. We had chatbot, we had TIA Core AI, we had TIA digital workers. Now TIA digital workers is where if you were a company today and you suddenly got a lot of invoices, what are your options? Or you had to process a lot of purchase orders, what would you do? In most cases, you would go and say, let me hire a temporary worker. Let's go and get a temporary accountant. Let's get a temporary accounts payable clerk. Let me get some interns, right? So that we want to change that approach and see, tell people, why don't you go to the TIA store and get Finn to come and help you for 2 weeks. And Finn, who is our finance bot, can come in and help you. I mean, does Finn know everything about your company? Maybe not. Finn needs to be taught a little bit, needs to know your username, password to log into your SAP. But Finn knows how to process orders, inbound purchase orders. Finn knows how to put them in as sales orders. So Finn knows a bunch of things like that. Similar to, we have a bot called Ward that can do work orders, outbound work orders. We have, these are names that we came up with, but, we're obviously, these names can be changed, but just to give you an idea about what are the possibilities out there. We have Hugh, that is our HR reporting bot. We have Tim that manages timesheets. We have a customer of ours that's in the logging business. It's a big wood processing company out of British Columbia, and they have people in up north British Columbia that go and fell trees, and as the trees come down, and at the end of the week, they've got to write on a piece of paper their timesheet. They put in their times. They sign the piece of paper, take a picture of that, and then send it to an email address at headquarters in Vancouver. We have a bot that sits there, the equivalent of Tim, reads these sheets that come in. These are muddy documents that come in, handwritten, and take those documents, make sense of them, put the information into ADP, and run payroll. So that's the kind of stuff that we can do. So I'll take you through some quickly, and then Sal will go through the other demo as well. People that we deal with. So RPA enabled AR and AP. These are some of our success stories that we have, especially in Canada, world's largest potash company. We've got Tangentia Automation, Automation Anywhere with our industry accelerators have reduced invoice processing time dramatically. Streamlined vendor interaction with finance. Summit Wealth, one of our other customers, this is where we were talking about how digital workers were able to go in, take some of their reporting, year-end reporting, month-end reporting, quarterly reporting, sent to the customers, automated, and their and when COVID hit, they really didn't have to go to the office again to send those reports because it was already there and all this processing happened. Indus Motors is India's largest car dealership. They sell a car every 10 minutes. Now, they had a huge 200 people back office that registered the car with the Department of Transport, registered for insurance, registered for FASTag, roadside assistance, warranties. So there's a lot of back office that happens when you buy a car. And a lot of that was able to be automated. We were able to reduce the number of people in their back office by almost 90%. So huge win for automation, huge win for Tangentia, huge win for the TIA Industry Accelerator solution. So with that, again, Sal did go early, but Sal, you can go ahead and maybe we can see some of the other portions of the demo.
Thanks, Vijay. So on the next demo, I'm going to show you guys a slightly different flavor. So rather than the purchase order component, we're going to see the opposite where we need to process invoices. So this is more of a procure to pay type flow. And just going to share my screen here so we can start the continue. I'm going to toggle to my, okay. So this is a very natural process. It's actually, and when I say natural, I mean from a human perspective. It's actually to process invoices. And so we're going to send off the email to our bot, and I guess our bot's name is Carl. So Carl processes invoices. So we're going to send off an email, and there's going to be 7 invoices attached. And we're going to watch what happens. Hit send, and this is all real time, so we didn't speed anything up. So the message has been sent, and Carl has been programmed to trigger based on when he starts receiving emails. And so once Carl receives this email, we'll see at the bottom corner, Carl kick into action. A little bit of a delay for suspense, but I wanted it to be in real time just for the effect.
No, that's fantastic. It is so it's real. It's not a canned demo.
Yeah, this is an actual bot that there it is. So Automation Anywhere Enterprise Client has kicked in. Carl has received the email. Carl is now starting work. And so we're now about 30 seconds since we sent that email. And you can see the 7 invoices. Carl has saved them down to the local system. He's now entering into the ERP system. And one by one, Carl's going to process them. So I'll show you one, just so that way we get a flavor for all the work that is being done. And all of these invoices come from different vendors who might have different payment terms, different payment methods, all sorts of rules around taxes, different currencies. And so all of those rules were actually built into the bot. And so these are rules that a human would have to interpret and apply consistently. And as Vijay mentioned before, it's maybe at the beginning of the day, the human's very accurate and understands all the rules and knows them, but by the end of the day, maybe not so much. So we get extreme accuracy for Carl when Carl is given everything that should be provided in one of these invoices. Now, sometimes there are variables beyond Carl's control, like maybe one of the vendors forgot to include some information or had some incorrect information that conflicted with the rules that Carl needs to follow. So we can see here, Carl has processed one invoice and he's going to run through the next 6. But I'm going to fast forward a little bit. We don't need to see the same invoice processing over and over again. But I am going to proceed to OK. And now I'm just going to wait for Carl. And you can see here, Carl actually got an invoice where he didn't either get all the information that was required or couldn't understand it. And so there are some cases where this happens, but even a bot like Carl sometimes needs help, as he put in his email. And this is where the human element still takes control. There is still always a sense of oversight, because the bot will indicate when there is an issue, and a human can go in and take a look at those issues. Whether there needs to be a conversation with a vendor that a bot necessarily can't handle, that can happen. But the point is that Carl's not going to go rogue. Carl isn't going to process something where he's not sure of all the information, or where some of the rules that we gave Carl would be violated. And as a result, he sends the email back. And now, whoever the manager of this department, they can now handle these one-offs. And out of 7, Carl managed to process 5 in less than 5 minutes. So we're still way ahead of the game as compared to using a human worker for processing these invoices. And that's that demo. Vijay?
Fantastic, Sal. So I think we've got some time. We were right on time here. We've got 7 minutes to the end of our webinar. We're ready to take some questions. I got some questions from some of the people on the audience, but anybody that has any questions, if you want to just write it down or just raise your hand and we can take those questions. So I think I had 1 or 2 questions that came in, that were specifically via chat. So one question, Sal, I'll let you take this, is how long does it take to implement a solution like what you've shown?
I would say it depends on the complexity of the process, but something that we've shown as little as 2 weeks. And more often than not, when we talk about those 2 weeks, close to half of that time is more so just figuring out and getting access to client systems and things like that. But actually building and developing a bot under 2 weeks, and that includes testing as well.
Mm-hmm. So again, so anybody can get started, companies of all sizes, and I think what we see, our vision of the world is that bots are going to get ubiquitous. You're going to see companies of all sizes having bots and humans working alongside. The proof of this huge change is that Microsoft now has bundled an RPA solution with their Office 365. So Microsoft Power Automate comes free, bundled with Office 365. So basically, they're putting a desktop bot in every person's hands. Now, some of the things that we've seen are more enterprise bots, but desktop bots are a digital personal assistant that people are going to see and are going to get very common. So very similar to having Alexa or Siri go and find your playlist for you, or to change your music. You can have some of these digital personal assistants and RPA bots that can do some of your work and for you as well. So in that sense, I had a question for you, Sal. In terms of enterprise versus desktop, I think most of your experience was in enterprise, but I know at Rogers and some of the other bigger companies that you've worked at, they also have big call centers. So in the call centers, they've been big users of robotic desktop automation, RDA. So what are your thoughts on that, and where do you think that is going as well?
Absolutely. We kind of robotic desktop automation, or sometimes we'd call it like on demand, where we didn't want to offload the work to a separate user, but in a call center environment, here's a very common use case. When COVID hit, everyone wanted to change their rate plan and downsize them and save some money, or maybe they're not, or maybe they need to upgrade their internet plan, which is super common. And there was a burst of calls coming in that were unexpected. So we were able to leverage RDA, where the actual call center agent could process. They would literally click one button instead of the 20 or 30 clicks it requires to change a rate plan. Click one button and say upgrade internet, and it would upgrade, and they would click the button, pick the plan, and all the work was done within seconds. So something where there's some dead air on an interaction between a customer, please wait while I change your plan for you. It's okay, you want to change your plan? Done. And within 10 seconds, the plan is changed by a robot.
Okay, we have a specific question here. What specific OCR engine for IDP? For example, the muddy timesheets. So very good question. And I think, I don't know if you have the answer, Sal, but I do know that we use a mixture of OCR engines. We used the Microsoft OCR engine. We used Tesseract. We used also Automation Anywhere's own solution. So we've used a bunch of solutions to come up, and we've got an algorithm that we developed that takes the best of breed for certain situations. So and then Sal, if you want to add anything to that, in terms of the OCR engine.
So I like the term the muddy timesheets, and that's a common, I guess, a common downfall or pitfall of OCR. Sometimes you don't get perfect images, right? And so what we're finding now is the more advanced engines are actually leveraging artificial intelligence. So maybe at first, as we enter certain things, human intervention is required to correct the OCR and make sure we get it right. But as we do that, the machine learns and gets smarter and starts to understand how mud can impact the optical character recognition, and starts adapting and learning. And we've seen in our experience, within a month or so, it requires no human intervention, and the machine has just figured out how to adapt to the muddy timesheet example. Yeah.
No, thank you, Sal. But specifically, we've used we can get our technical team to answer it specifically. But in different situations where sometimes we've thought Tesseract is better, or we've seen the Microsoft engine is better, or Abby FlexiCapture, or any of those, and we work with many of these solutions. We've been trying out multiple ones, and we've seen different horses for different courses, as they say. We've seen some that do better, and as Sal mentioned, in any of these situations as well, as they go along, as time goes by, all of those engines get better. So if there's no other questions, we're right at the end. We're right on time here. I'd like to thank everybody for coming in. And if you're ready to start your journey, please get in touch with us. You've got my colleagues' contact information there, Karen Briones, who is our customer success manager, or just send it to sales@tangentia.com, or my email out there, which is vijay@tangentia.com. So on that note, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great Tuesday, the rest of your Tuesday. If you've not had lunches yet, hope you have a wonderful lunch. Thank you, Sal. Thank you all the team at Tangentia for putting this together. And we have another one event tomorrow. If those of you would like to join us again, we will, I promise you, fine tune, remove some of the wrinkles from today. And if you have somebody that's not in your company that was not able to join today, let us know if they can join tomorrow as well. So thank you. Have a nice one. Thank you. Bye.